Hey guys, yesterday we did this example of Pong with a computer opponent. So you guys started with single player bouncing the ball off the wall, and then you can have two players with, keyboard, maybe W and S to move one and up and down to move the other. But we can have a computer as well, and maybe one of them is still the same as it was. You can do keyboard or mouse to control, and then the other one is just, I did one line of code to make it move perfectly to just track the ball's Y coordinate, and it moves fast enough, and the ball, there's only one of them, so we can never lose. Obviously you want to change that, but it's a start. And so if you didn't see that, well, here's where we left off. There are a couple problems, which is why I wanted to add this thing today, but I'm moving the guy on the right with my mouse. It's just tracking the position, and the one on the left is moving more than it has to because it's tracking the ball all the time instead of going where it will be. But like I said, I wanted to make it that was a little weird, which I'll show you in a second. I wanted to make it really simple, just one line of code that says, hey, match the Y coordinate. I took off the key stuff because I made it mouse, but you can always put that back. So there are some issues. Let me show you. If you lose, if you let it miss you, then it comes back. That's clearly a problem with the collision, right? Where it's bouncing off of something behind the paddle. I think it's going to do it again. Maybe not. But another issue is that the left computer opponent, the left guy, is still moving because it's still tracking the ball that's out of bounds, which is a little bit silly, right? We don't want our ball to go out of bounds and then keep moving. In terms of programming, it's bad to have the computer track stuff that doesn't matter. Not that it's taking a huge amount of resources. It's weird to have the opponent moving for no reason. It also ends the game because there's no reset or whatever. An initial draft, I had it just stop. I had like velocity 0, and it would just stop when it goes off screen, which is kind of bad. We could make it destroy that ball and create a new one. But best of all is we probably should just have the ball, when it's off screen, just teleport back to the middle, because we're going to make multiple rounds and eventually have it keep score and that kind of thing. So that's bad, right? You don't want it to. It's kind of embarrassing to have it bounce off screen and then come back. Like that's a real ugly thing. If you ever watch speed runs and somebody can find a way to like clip through a wall and go out of bounds and then like swim through the air to the final boss or something, it looks dumb and it looks silly and it's very game breaking, and I'm sure the people who made it are kind of shaking their heads that they let that happen, even though it does entertain people. So what we want to do, look, I hooked up another camera just for fun. So we want to change the collision a little bit. What we want to do is say we got our little universe here with our paddle and then a ball, and what it should do is bounce and bounce back. But what it's doing is right. That's 3 or 4 bounces that seem kind of extra, right? So what's happening? Well, in our code we have one line that says, got a bunch of Sharpies here. We have one line that says, is the X past the left edge of the paddle, or the right if it's the other guy. So it's like this, This is like math. If you do graphing of greater than or less than, you'll have your line or whatever, but then you'll shade in everything on one side of that universe, because it's not just that spot, it's everything, where it's true to say it's greater than or less than, whatever. So our line says, hey, is the X over that spot? And then it says, is the Y, the way we do it is like you start in the middle and then go up by half or down by half, is the Y in this region? But the problem is, if the ball ever goes anywhere in here in this red-blue intersection extends like that indefinitely to the right or to the left if it was the other one. Anytime it goes in that zone, it does its bounce, and the paddle bounce says reverse the x. So if it was like, the y is positive, it's still positive, but the x goes, and then it goes back on screen. So that's bad news. We don't want that. What do we want to do? We want to add one thing that's like, color? Yeah. That cuts it off at the right edge of the paddle and says if you're over here, then you qualify. So the paddle itself is the intersection of all the inequalities. It should be blue and red and purple, which it is, although it doesn't look like it on the silly marker thing. So what we got to do, we got to say, mostly I'm making this video to test out the multiple camera setup and everything. Let's see here. We got to add, okay, this is testing. Does it hit the top or bottom? That's fine. Although we could add to like, it doesn't do it if it's off screen, but you know. So we want to add, okay, this is testing. This is like the blue in our diagram. Or this is, because this is the one on the right. This is like the blue, and this is like the red. Is it over the edge of the paddle? And is it, within the vertical zone that could be bouncing? So what we got to do is say one more thing. And new X, which is the like where it would be in the next frame if it can go and it doesn't have to bounce. This is the one on the right, so we want to say new X is less than width, because width is our variable that is talking about the whole screen. And this guy over here, even though the computer's never going to lose, let's assume that in future versions it might. In this case, we want to say if new X is greater than 0, right? I always mess up my inequalities, so maybe that's supposed to be less than. Let's hit run, and let's make sure it works. The computer's never going to lose, so we can't test that part. Let me bounce mine once the right way to make sure I didn't ruin that. And then let's bounce it the wrong way and let me lose, and let it be close. And then, like, in the last version, it would have came back, because it would have been in that zone that had both inequalities true, and then it would have gone back. So it doesn't. I mean, you can test further, but it's a very simple thing. And all you have to do is add this guy, if you have one on the left, if you're doing a 2-player version, and this guy on the right. Thanks.